This is the Trailer Park Hustle. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kyle from Infinite Hustle, and I want to talk to you today about an idea that I've had rambling through my head for a few years now. And this is my next move. I just got to figure out how to get there. So, before I even get started, if anybody could help me out and figure this plan that I have out to the next level, I'd greatly appreciate it. But for starters, buy a home off Craigslist for example, say $6,000. This one is only $4,500, so this is cheaper than what my estimate is. But say you buy a house for $6,000, you put down $1,000 down payment, and your current balance is $5,000. You make 10 payments for $500 a month, and the mobile home is paid off. That's a $6,000 mobile home. This is a $4,500 mobile home. 10 payments plus your down payment, it's paid off. Yes, there's other costs associated with living in a mobile home. There's lot fees, there's your electric bill, your water bill, your sewer bill. But those things are all manageable, and those things are all part of the game. That's part of living in a mobile home is lot fees and stuff like that. So don't think that's an excuse for anything. That's just something that's part of the game. That's the way that it goes, to be honest. So if that's what's going to shut you down or hold you back from this hustle, I advise you to reconsider, because there's lots of money in flipping mobile homes and renting them out. And that's what the basis of the story is about. So to put this in perspective, I live currently in a 2-bedroom apartment and pay $575 per month. In 1 year, I spent $6,900 a month on rent. I basically pay $6,900 towards somebody else's mortgage payment. With the mobile home hustle, it would be beneficial to live in the mobile home until it was paid off, obviously. It wouldn't be wise to rent it out and then rent somewhere else for yourself. I recommend during the first 2 years, live in your mobile home, or at least till it's paid off at the very minimum. But I recommend 2 years. That's what I would do if I was in that situation, and that's probably how I'm going to pull it when I get involved in this hustle. This is my next move. This is my next big hustle. It's just going to take me a little time to save up some money and build up some credit, or figure out a different plan. But now in 11 months, you purchase a $6,000 mobile home instead of losing out on $6,900 on rent in 1 year. So basically $6,500 in 11 months versus the $6,000 that you're keeping in the mobile home. You're owning the mobile home after your first year, guaranteed. When you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, you're making their payments, and you're not obtaining nothing. You're just wasting that money continuously and continuously. And that's the problem I find myself in. Is kind of hard to get to the point where you can buy a piece of property, even something small like this, when you're living on disability. But there is ways around the system, and I'm sure that if I figure something out, if I think hard enough, I can come up with a plan or a goal to help me get a place similar to this, or maybe even better. So after 2 years, the mobile home would obviously be paid off. The first one would be paid off in 1 year, in 11 months. And then I advise you to do the same thing, buy a second one while you're still living in the first mobile home, and do the same thing over. Except for you start renting this one out. You rent out your second mobile home, and they make the payments for your second mobile home. In only 22 months, you can own 2 mobile homes that are worth $6,000, and you could literally have a secondary source of income or an alternate source of income that's handed to you in less than 2 years. That's a great way to start a hustle. 2 years, already owning 2 pieces of property and having one of them being rented out. When you're renting out a house, it's regardless if it's $100,000 house or what it is, it's still a single family, and they're still, you know, receiving the same thing. They're still receiving a roof over their head. They're still receiving a kitchen and a bathroom, that kind of thing. So realistically, what's the purpose of spending 100, 200 grand on a house when you could live small like this, stack up a couple of these mobile homes in a few years, and then you could live off the money that you make, because they're going to be paid off, like I said, in 1 year. That's all it takes, is paid off in 1 year. Yeah, there's upkeep and there's going to be maintenance that comes across, but that's part of the game, and everybody should know that. If you're a landlord, if you're somebody who wants to get involved in hustling, that's part of the expectation. There's going to be things that come up that you're going to have to fix, and that could, differentiate from the $6,000 that you initially had to spend on your mobile home. But again, that's only in 11 months. So even if something went wrong, you still got, another month to play with to stay within that year mark. I'm telling you that this is the most efficient way to obtain real estate and to start making money, is flipping mobile homes, because the rate of return is so fast and it's almost guaranteed. I mean, some people will complain about having bad tenants, or things break down on them, or they don't like the neighborhood, or whatever their excuse is. They make up excuses for why they can't do it. But I'm looking at this place right now, and it looks pretty damn good. So I've been at my current apartment for 2 years now. That's $6,900 for 2 years in a row, for example. I could have easily paid off 2 of these and have one renting it out, and I could literally be paying my one trailer with my Social Security, and I could be paying the other trailer off with the rent payment that I'd be receiving from that mobile home. And then once I got my third or fourth mobile home, I would never need to be on Social Security for the rest of my life. I could get off Social Security, I could pay off my student loans, and I could live a much better life, a much easier life, and a much less stressful life, because I wouldn't have to be worrying about money or my overhead. My overhead would be covered. My overhead is covered right now. The government pays for my basic necessities, and they're going to pay for it until I figure out a way to overcome the hump and be able to purchase my own real estate, or be able to purchase 2 pieces of real estate or 3 pieces of real estate and start renting them out. And then maybe I'll get off Social Security at that time. But at the current state of what's going on right now, I'm not gonna get off Social Security. My Social Security will pay this mobile home, or whatever mobile home I decide to get, off in the first year. And this one's in Maquoketa, for example, but I'll move to Maquoketa. I don't care. I'll go wherever I gotta go. I'll move to Michigan if I have to, if I can get one for $3,000. You know what I mean? I'll live somewhere else and not necessarily work full time like I have been, and I'll just live my mobile home and live off my Social Security for a year or so until my mobile home's paid off. And then the second year, I figure out how I could get my second mobile home. And once I get my tenant in there after about a year, then I'm pretty much golden. I can buy my third trailer and between the rent from 2 trailers, I could probably afford to pay my rent of my own trailer and pay my own bills just between the rent that I'd be receiving from the 2 other trailers. And at that time, I'd probably get another job and I would continue my job as a limo driver. But I'm just putting this story into my perspective and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to approach it. And I advise anybody who's looking for a side hustle or looking to grow their wealth very fast to consider this option. The mobile home hustle is a very, very easy way to make lots of money very quickly. Rent is a certainty in this world. People have to have a place to live. People, no matter what, have to have somewhere to sleep. They have to have somewhere to go to the bathroom. They have to have somewhere to eat. Everyone needs a home. And, like I said before, you talk about bad tenants. There's ways around that. You call their employer. You call their multiple employers for the last 10 years if you have to. You call every landlord that they've ever had. You call, everybody. You call, at least 3 references. You do a background check on them. You do a credit check on them. You make them fill out a $25 non-refundable application fee. And boom, there's your good tenant. You just weeded out the bad tenants because most of them aren't going to pay that $25. Most of them aren't going to fit the criteria of the things that I just said. And most of them are not going to be bad tenants if you do those things that I said and if you follow those simple steps. This is a very easy hustle, and I think people overlook it. I know people that will go out and spend 80 grand on a house, and they're paying on a house for 30, 40 years. In 30, 40 years, if you continue to buy these, you'll have probably 20 of them. And then how much money are you making? A shitload, because they pay themselves off in 1 year. So, say, for example, we're just talking about 10 years, a decade. The trailer pays itself off in 1 year. That other 9 years in a decade, the mobile home is paying you. Charge or have the tenants pay the lot fee. You don't have to pay that lot fee. That's part of the rent agreement. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay the water or the sewer. That's part of the rent agreement. They got to pay that shit. Figure it out, get it going. You know what I mean? Get the ball rolling. So this ain't for people who got millions and millions of dollars. Leave us a little bit of the pie. Leave us a little opportunity in this world, because this is a hustle that the little guy can get to. And I think this is a hustle that can bring somebody who's like me on a small scale and with a limited budget to the next level of their hustle and possibly reach that $100 or $100,000 a year mark someday. Before I wanted to be a millionaire, that's just a goal or a dream, but I don't really care about that no more. I'm thinking I'd like to see 100,000 someday. And being on disability and owing money on my student loans, I'm not going to get there. And if you're in the same boat, I advise you to take this hustle up and figure out how you can get out of debt and how you can start obtaining trailers. At least do this for, like I said, maybe a decade of your life, and you'd be surprised how beneficial this will be to your life. You can, in 10 years, you can spend the money that you made off these trailers and you could put it into your dream home. You could pick your dream home and you could get out of the business. But 10 years of your life to make the rest of your life successful, or at least when it comes to your living, is totally worth it. People need to reconsider how much they're spending on their mortgages, because a mortgage is a waste of time. If you're spending money for 30, 40 years, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? If you got enough money to purchase a house straight up, or if you can purchase a house in 10 years, I say go for it. But if you got a 30-year fixed mortgage, I'm telling you, that's not the way to go. And I know most people are stuck in that situation and they can't do nothing about it. But if you can do something about it, if you got the money to pay your mortgage off in 10 years, do that shit. You'll have less interest to worry about. You'll have less problems, and you can, either stay in your house or you could flip your house and have 100% of what you put into it. So reconsider, how much you're spending on real estate right now, how much you're spending on rent, and how much you could be making off something as simple as this mobile home hustle, a trailer park hustle. I hope everybody understands my perspective. I don't know if anyone's gonna jump on this like I'm gonna, but this is definitely something that I'm going to do. I don't care if I live in a mobile home for the rest of my life. I'm content with that. But best believe in 20 to 40 years, I'm going to have a whole damn trailer park. And I'm going to be making money from a whole damn trailer park. That's how I'm going to do it. And that's how I can reach great levels of success. And that's not me blowing smoke. That's me telling you exactly what I'm going to do. I've been thinking about this for a long time now, probably 2 years, and I'm sick of paying rent. I'm sick of paying somebody else's bills. I'm sick of losing out on all that money every year. I barely get $9,000 a year as it is on disability, Social Security, and the mass majority is going straight to somebody else's mortgage payment, and I'm not getting shit in return. I'm wasting all that money every year. So if you're on disability, if you are thinking about buying a home, if you're young, if you have the opportunity to do this hustle, please think wisely. Go on Craigslist and search for mobile homes. You could find them under 10 grand. You don't need nothing extravagant. Just get something that's livable. That's all that matters. Is it livable? Spend about 10 grand, and I'm sure that you'd be surprised what the outcome will be. You'd be surprised how much money you can really make. And if you think you know this and it seems very obvious to you, then why aren't you doing it? Because there's nothing that is, a better return than 1 year paying something off that's going to start paying you a salary. You know what I mean? You're going to be making money in your second year. When you're paying on your house mortgage for a 30-year mortgage, you're barely even getting into the principal, and you're probably not even touching the principal in the second year. You're probably not touching the principal till the 5th or 10th year. You know what I mean? Because there's so much interest involved, and there's there's so many loopholes that the banks have against you that they just take and milk all your money from you. And that's why I advise everyone to reconsider when they're buying an expensive house. If you're buying a house, go ahead and buy a house, but spend 30, 40 grand. If you only make 30 grand a year, spend 30 grand. Don't spend 60 or 80. Don't spend double what you make. That's asinine. That's stupid. You know what I mean? Spend what you make. I recommend to anybody, and I'm not the most, credible person in the world with this knowledge, but I'm saying my best piece of advice for somebody who's looking for a home, an actual house, is spend 1 year's salary on that house. So worst case scenario, you could bust your ass and you could pay it off in a year or two. I know it would be hard, and it'd be everything that you're making and everything that you're pulling in, but still, then it's not a burden to you. You're just paying taxes every year. You know what I mean? What's the point of getting a home that you're going to spend 30 years of your life making payments on? What happens if you pay your payment for 29 years and all of a sudden you lose your job, your wife dies and your disability check didn't come in, for 2 months or 3 months, or you forgot to renew your paperwork? Then what happens? Then you lose out on everything. You lose out on all that money that you spent through all them years. Or what happens if you pay on a mortgage for, say, 20 years or so out of a 30-year mortgage, and you were to die and you're a single person like me, you know what I mean? That obviously it would go to whoever I would leave it to, but they would be just obtaining my debt. You know what I mean? It would be real estate debt, but it's still debt. And 20 years, I should have any piece of property paid off. Somebody like me who's got a hustler mentality and who knows about real estate and who knows what not to do and who's learned their lessons in the past could tell you that you need to think differently and you need to put this into perspective. You need to realize that you're spending too much money and you could be saving lots of money. You could have money in your bank and you could be pulling in extra income every single month. If anyone's watching this video and they're a landlord and they want to come up with some type of lease agreement or a rent-to-own agreement with me, I'm definitely down. I got a credible background. I got a job. I got proof of income. I got all of it. You know what I mean? I'm a great tenant. I always pay my rent. You can ask my landlord right now. I've never missed one payment. I have never missed a payment of my rent in my entire life. Since I've been on my own, I've never missed one rent payment. So, anyone out there who knows where I should go with my next step, because like I said, I'm in student loan debt, and I owe, some credit cards and stuff like that, but I'm still getting that $6,900 a year going towards my rent alone. So how can I turn that rent into obtaining an asset? I hope I can figure this out 100%. I know this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm committed to. This is what I've been committed to. I just got to figure out how I can either pay off my debt to where I can get in my first trailer, or I'm just going to have to work hard and save my money so I can afford one straight up and purchase it straight up. Dad, if you're watching this is a $4,500 mobile home that I could pay you $575 every month for. That's every month. We spent that much on each of the limos, you know what I mean? So this would be a home that I could give you $6,900 a year for, and it's only a $4,500 mobile home, and you could talk to my landlords. You know that my money's coming in every month. I can get validation of how long my Social Security will go until they even give me a renewal. I mean, I could find out all the what ifs, and any question that you got, I could answer it, because I've been studying this for a while, and I know that this is a certainty. This is a guaranteed plan. There's not many guaranteed plans in this world, but this is a guaranteed plan. The only way this will fail is if a twister sucks up your damn mobile home, and you literally get sucked up by a tornado, like Dorothy on The Wizard of Oz or some shit. I don't think that's gonna happen whatsoever, but you never know. I've seen crazier things happen, but realistically, this is a great hustle. This is a great idea. This is something that I'm committed to 100%. And like I said, I'm willing to move anywhere I gotta go, anywhere in the U.S. So any landlord in the whole entire country, if you got a good deal for me, send me an email at collegelifeone219@gmail.com. Give me a call, 563-613-1883. Let's make a deal. Let's work something out. Let's get the paperwork rolling, because I'm ready to move out next month. So I'm ready to start, paying on my mortgage, start obtaining an asset and get myself out of debt, because I got bigger dreams in this world, and I can't accomplish those goals if I'm stuck in debt. I can't even go back to school to finish what I started because I put myself in so much debt. I owe about 30 grand right now, And I got to figure out something big to make that kind of money back, because at my job, I make about 10, 15 grand a year. Social Security gives me about 10 grand a year. That's 25 grand, and that's not including the 6,900 that's coming out of my rent and my living expenses. So realistically, I'm only clearing, about 5K a year. That's being optimistic. And that's if I work full time year round. You know how I don't usually do that. I work for 9 months, or I work for several months, and then I take a break because my body isn't built for working full time forever. You know what I mean? I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I've had rheumatoid arthritis for a long time, so I got to use my brain, and I got to think, uh, of different ways to hustle and different ways to live my life. I gotta be smart about what I do. I'm already 28 years old, and I've never owned my own home. I know it's kind of sad, to be honest, but it's because I put myself in debt in college and I made the mistake. But I mean, I'm suffering for it. College was literally the worst move of my entire life. It's totally enslaved me being on disability. It's totally put me at a point where I can't, you know, I can't go get a new car. I can't go get a new home. I can't go get a mobile home by myself. I have to figure things out. So, like I said, if I have to save up every dollar that I can for 2 years just to get something like this, I will. But if somebody wants to help me out and throw up the upfront cost, we can work something out. I'll pay you a couple $1,000s extra just for helping me out and doing the favor. And like I said, you're guaranteed to get at least 6,900 a year from me, and that's at minimum 6,900 a year for me. So I'm only looking for, you could put me in a $3,000 mobile home and I'm fine. We'll pay that thing off in the first 6 months if we have to. So I'm confident in this plan. I'm confident in this dream. I'm confident in this hustle. And I hope anybody out there who, learned something from this video, or I sparked their interest a little bit, I hope you jump on it, because there's plenty of room out there and there's plenty of meat left on the bones to get a little action. Don't be afraid to take risk in this world. You made a risk, having a car note. You made a risk having a mortgage. You made a risk doing a lot of things. But I think this is one of those risks that are less riskful, and they're more probable than most of my ideas and most of my hustles. This is something that's actually possible. This is something that's practical. This is something that is real, and this is something that will happen. Whether or not I have help or not, this will happen. So, like I said, if anybody out there could give me some advice, maybe point me to a landlord or some type of financier who could foot the bill and come up with a contract, I greatly appreciate it. And like I said, I got years in my apartment, and I'd be putting in years into the trailer or the mobile home, and I'd be making that commitment, and I'd be willing to sign the paperwork and get a lawyer and all that. So just keep in mind, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to live my life. That's where I want to live. And I'm comfortable with having a small yard, living closer to people, not living near my family as much. I'm comfortable with all that. I just want to get out of debt, and I want to own my own home, and I don't care if it's a mobile home. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of paying for a 2-bedroom apartment when I sleep on the couch. You know what I'm saying? I don't do nothing but waste money every month on rent. And I could get a cheaper apartment, but that's just gonna save me maybe $100 a month if I'm lucky, and I won't have the things that I already have here. I won't have the free cable, I won't have the free heat, I won't have the free water, the free sewer, or the free garbage. I get a lot of extras here, so that 575 is well deserved. You know what I mean? But if I was spending it on an asset that I'm retaining and I'm going to keep, then it's a totally different ballgame. I know I owe some of my family members money, and they might not be as susceptible to jump on this hustle because of that factor. But to be honest, you could add up all the money that I've ever owed you, and you could put it right on top of this bill, and we could make it square, all of it. And once I get square with the family and the people that I owe money to in the family, my dad, my stepmom, my grandma, Kathy, as soon as I clear that debt with them, you know, I'm hoping that maybe one of them could help me out with this new idea that I got, because I'm wasting too much money, like I said. And I'm not trying to ask for sympathy, but I need to grow up. I need to pay off the debt that I owe, and I need to get in my own home, and I need to start being able to work on my own home and learn those skills and them traits, because I don't have that stuff. I don't have, the builder's mentality or the mechanical application mentality. I I don't know how to do nothing when it comes to a home. This would be great practice. This would be a great thing for me. Having an apartment is lazy. When something breaks, I just call the landlord and he comes and fixes it, and I don't learn shit. You know what I mean? So not only will this be learning experience with the hands-on and learning how to renovate a property or fix things that break, but it's going to be a financial, you know, leap. And I mean, this will be a leap for me. This will literally be the thing that gets me out of debt, pays off my student loans, and this will be literally the thing that could potentially save my life and make my wealth and my dreams come true. I know hustling cars is not a good hustle. Every time I bought a car to hustle or flip, I've lost money on it. I know the real estate market is up and down, and there's too many unknown variables when it comes to houses. I'm not going. Maybe someday when I got more money, but I'm not risking taking a loss on a house. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's too much money, too much risk. This is minimal funds and this is minimal risk. So, to anybody out there who can point me in the right direction, like I said, I greatly appreciate it. Even if you just got some advice, please leave it in the comment box below. I'm trying to get this ball rolling. I'm trying to reach this next level. I'm trying to overcome the odds, and I'm trying to get off Social Security disability, and most importantly, I'm trying to pay off my student loans, because I want to go back to school, and I want to be either a teacher or I want to be a doctor, and I want to be able to provide for Briar, and I want Briar to be able to look up to me as a great mentor. If I can't physically work, I can go to school for the rest of my life. I don't care if I have to do 6 more years in college. I'll do it. I'll go to school and I'll be a doctor or a lawyer if I have to, just to prove my point. I'm not worried about, making that same mistake again, because this time I know what I'm doing. I know that to only take out enough to pay for my books and my classes, the government will pay for that stuff. The government will, since I'm such low income, the government will pay for my schooling 100%. The only reason I owe money is because I took out extra loans so me and Briar had spending money and we could have fun, because I didn't know how to hustle back then. I didn't know nothing. I was a punk kid, and I just seen my cousin Heather and my mom, living the lifestyle every time they got their student loan checks, and I thought that was the path for me too. I thought that's the only way to obtain a decent amount of money. You know what I mean? And what I found out is that was the dumbest mistake of my life. Following in their footsteps and doing the same thing they did and spending money just to spend money, not going to school because it was free and I'm learning. I went to school literally just to make money and get them student loan checks. I didn't even care about my grades, or I didn't focus on nothing but doing exactly the bare minimum to receive my diploma and receive them checks, and that's it. I didn't put forth no effort. But when I go back to school, if I have to go back to school, and this is just a possibility, that's a big if, I'm gonna bust my ass. I'm gonna get straight A's. And if I do have to force myself to go back to school after I paid off that debt, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have the government pay for me to become a doctor or a lawyer, and I'm gonna be something this whole family can be proud of. Something Broward would definitely be proud of. Because just because my body doesn't work as well as others because I have that arthritis doesn't mean that I can't use my brain and earn a larger income than most people. I have the ability to learn more than most people. I have the willingness to learn more than most people, and I have hustles more than most people. So that's my little spiel. This is the mobile home hustle. This is Kyle from Infinite Hustle. And I hope you all learned something from this. Whether or not it's investing in mobile homes or reconsidering how you're going to spend your money in college, borrowing extra and living off your student loan checks, because it's not the answer, and that will totally set your life back years and years. And if you're on disability, it'll set your life back even further. So I hope somebody out there can learn their lesson from my mistakes. I know I've learned a lesson, and it's about time I start paying for my mistakes and I start paying that debt back. I borrowed that money. No one in my family borrowed that money. I borrowed it, plain and simple. And it's time for me to pay it back, and it's time for me to do what I got to do as a man to reach the next level of success. So thanks for watching. Thanks for viewing. Please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a very good day. And for those landlords out there or real estate brokers or people who are selling mobile homes, I'm dead serious about this, and I'm definitely looking. I'm definitely interested. And if you got something, please get a hold of me. I gave you my contact info before. I'll leave it in the description box on this video. And please get a hold of me. I am looking, and I will be looking until I find what I want. So if you got something, if you're looking for a reliable tenant, please contact me. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again. Have a good day.